In glorious weather, the Grand Prix scene returns to Europe, to the Paul Ricard circuit near Marseille for today's French Grand Prix. And after 6 rounds of the World Championship, Ferrari's Michele Alboreto tops the Drivers' Championship, a healthy 7 points clear of Elio De Angelis, who's followed by Alain Prost, Stefan Johansson, Rosberg, Tournbay and Senna. And it's looking good for Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. They comfortably lead Lotus and McLaren, but significantly, the Williams team has leapt to 4th after Rosberg's fine win in Detroit. And the practice here has been dominated by Williams, with bad news and good news. Bad news of Nigel Mansell's 200 miles an hour crash, which has mercifully left him with nothing worse than concussion. But good news of Keke Rosberg in pole position, followed by Senna, Alboreto, Prost, Piquet and Lauda, with Derek Warwick 10th, Martin Brundle 20th in his first Turbo Tyrrell drive, and Jonathan Palmer 21st. It's a long race today, a hot one and a very fast one. Tyres are going to be a big problem. In fact, it's an intriguing prospect.
Ayrton Senna in 2nd position on the grid. He just missed pole position yesterday, which would have been his 5th in 7 races. Nelson Piquet, twice a world champion, and in the warm-up this morning, he was 3rd fastest. Very significant. The Pirelli tyres are coming good. That's the new Renault that Patrick Tournbay is driving. It's right down on the weight limit of 550 kilograms. Patrick well pleased with it, and Derek is going to get one, Derek Warwick, for the British Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. Stefan Beloff is 25th and last on the grid. Only 25 starters in this race, with Nigel Mansell out of it. Keke Rosberg in his 89th Grand Prix, 53 laps, 191.3 miles an hour. And the green light tells Derek Ongaro it's go. Niki Lauda has blasted through right up alongside Alain Prost, who was in 4th position, and now they're through the Verrerie bends, which are about 160 miles an hour on a flying lap, and it is Keke Rosberg leading. It is Ayrton Senna in 3rd position. It's Nelson Piquet in the Pirelli-equipped Brabham, who has forced his way up into 3rd position and is challenging Ayrton Senna. And then it's Alboreto 4th, De Angelis 5th, Lauda is in 6th position, Berger was 7th, and Alain Prost is down to 8th position.
Well, that was a pretty clean start. There were a couple of cars that towards the back of the grid that appeared to struggle to get away, but everybody got away in the end. And there's Piquet in 3rd place behind Senna, but not at the moment challenging him on the straight. They come to the end of the straight, which is where most of the passing gets done here. But we've got to watch some McLarens in this race. They haven't enjoyed the runaway success this year that they enjoyed last year. But here they were 1 and 2 in the warm-up this morning in race condition. They qualified well, and they are generally expected by all their rivals today to be the men to beat.
Coming up to complete lap 1, Keke Rosberg leading. The significant thing to me is the way that Niki Lauda, this early on the first lap, is starting to force his way up through the field. Anyway, coming out now onto the start and finish straight, leading up to the Verrerie. It's Rosberg leading, Senna in 2nd position, and Keke Rosberg, as expected, because, by the way, he is on B compound tyres, an inspired choice at Detroit, a comparatively soft compound, because a lot of people are fitting harder tyres here. So Rosberg there leading on the 2nd lap. In 2nd position, it is Ayrton Senna. There he is. 3rd is Nelson Piquet. 4th is Alboreto. 5th, De Angelis. 6th, Niki Lauda. 7th, Prost. The Cesaris in 8th position. 9th, Berger. 10th, Warwick. 11th, Tournbay. And in 12th position was Thierry Boutsen. Look at the heat haze as they go underneath the bridge and under the banner. The Renault-powered cars, and the Ligiers in particular, Senna waving a hand across his face there, are benefiting from those vastly improved Pirelli tyres.
Yeah, Senna would have just been cleaning his visor then. It may be that there's a little bit of oil or water or something coming out of Rosberg's car. The car, of course, topped up with all their levels. They tend to throw a bit of muck out. And what he may do, he might have been using the sleeve of his overall just to wipe the visor, or he may do, I used to carry a rag, which I would just put down in my lap, where it can't go anywhere and you can't lose it, so I just have a rag always to wipe my visor with when it got dirty. I didn't like tear off.
This is the end of the third lap coming up, and at the present moment, with Jacques Lafitte in trouble already, it looks as though they had too much turbo boost on the Ligier, and on lap 3, Jacques Lafitte has blown a turbo from the look of it and is seemingly out of the race, with Derek Warwick now in 9th position, the leading British driver, and off goes the Ligier, out go the fire extinguishers, out of the car goes Jacques Lafitte in what may well be his last ever French Grand Prix, because there are rumours about his retirement. Martin Brundle's doing well in the Tyrrell with its Renault turbo engine. He is in 18th position at the present moment, and Jonathan Palmer, who I think will be lucky if he finishes this race in the Zach speed, because they had a lot of trouble both in practice and in the warm-up. They haven't got the engine to their satisfaction, is in 20th place. But Rosberg leading, Senna second, Piquet just coming into your picture now in 3rd position. In the Scarlet Ferrari, 4th is Alboreto, 5th is the JPS of De Angelis. Then Lauda, and Alboreto has blown something. That will be a turbo, I suspect. Alboreto, and this is indicative of the heat and the pressure of this French Grand Prix. Set 20 seconds, that's the World Championship leader seemingly out, but we need confirmation to see him come out. But now Senna goes through, still second. Is Alboreto out? Well, if he's not out, he's effectively slowed right down, and I expect to see a new 4th place man, Elio De Angelis, any moment.
No, I think he was pulling off, Murray, because you saw he put his arm up, and that usually means that you're slowing down. It signals the following drivers that you're in trouble and no longer part of the race, so to give you a wide berth. So I would say that is by Alboreto, and the 2 McLarens are now right up, hounding De Angelis, and the pressure is starting from the McLaren.
And while Senna and Piquet are holding each other up, Keke Rosberg is getting a bit of a break. There's 2.5 seconds now between the race leader and Senna in 2nd place. And Elio De Angelis has got to watch Lauda and Prost in 5th and 6th positions behind him. The man to watch definitely is Keke Rosberg, as you look at Ayrton Senna 2nd. Piquet, the Brazilian veteran these days, because this is his 101st Grand Prix, challenging his countryman newcomer, another Brazilian, number 12, Ayrton Senna, in his 21st Grand Prix.
Now is where it's very important, and Nelson Piquet is very well placed. He's right behind Senna as they go onto the straight. Ideally, he'd like to be about 3 or 4 lengths behind him just to get a run at him with the slipstream, but he's tucked right in his slipstream, and I have to say I fancy Nelson Piquet to tow past Senna, but Senna's taking the inside for the call at the end of the straight. Now, has Senna got the space? Piquet has got half a length, and Piquet finally got the position. He got the help of the slipstream, and Piquet is through clearly into 2nd place.
Well, are we going to see this great, great racing driver, Nelson Piquet, catch Keke Rosberg? Lap 8, Rosberg leads, Piquet 2nd, Senna 3rd, De Angelis 4th, Lauda 5th, Prost in 6th position, and you're looking at the 4th, 5th and 6th now. Warwick is 7th, Berger is 8th, Colbe is 9th, Boutsen is 10th, Sura is 11th, Johansson is 12th, Patrese is 13th, Cheever is 14th, Barbie is 15th, and challenging Cheever. Martin Brundle is now in 16th position in the Tyrrell, ahead of 17th Winkelhock, 18th Alio, 19th Ginzani, 20th Stefan Beloff. And both the Ligiers are out of the race, as is Michele Alboreto. And as Rosberg, with now Nelson Piquet getting close to a position where he can start to challenge the Finn for the lead. And you saw that there's a McLaren moved up into 3rd position. We're looking very closely at this wonderful scrap between Keke Rosberg, Williams Honda, and Nelson Piquet, Brabham BMW. But in third position, a new driver in one of the McLarens, and it must, I suspect, be Niki Lauda. We'll have to wait to give you a positive identification on that. Jonathan Palmer, by the way, as I expected, is out of the race. He joins Jacques Lafitte de Cesaris and Michele Alboreto, so we've got 4 retirements. And over the line together go the Williams and the Brabham. Now the gap between those two and Niki Lauda, who is now in third place, is 5.4 seconds. Down to fourth position goes De Angelis. In fifth position it is Alain Prost. And so where is Ayrton Senna? Senna, the answer to my own question, has just gone into the pits. You can't see it. We're right opposite the pit. Now you can. Ayrton Senna on lap 11, who was in third position, comes up. There's Steve Hallam, his race engineer, and the yellow cap bending over the Lotus. And it looks as though the Renault engine is in trouble, as of course is Ayrton Senna, and there's a new third place man. But again, significantly, the super reliable Elio De Angelis is there in fourth position behind Lauda.
And he's got him round the outside. So Nelson Piquet goes through into the lead. Rosberg sliding about an awful lot now. So Rosberg in a bit of trouble, and Piquet really looks very good indeed. He looks nice and steady. Here we see it again on action replay. Now you see Rosberg holds it in tight, and then Piquet nips through on the inside. This is a double right-hander, and that was a tremendous piece of driving. Rosberg fought back.
Lap 12 out of 53. Keke Rosberg has lost his lead to Nelson Piquet, with Niki Lauda catching both of them in third place. Alain Prost is in fourth position. Elio De Angelis is in fifth place, and Derek Warwick is in the points in sixth place. Of the 3 British drivers who started this race, Jonathan Palmer is out, but Martin Brundle, in his first Renault-powered Turbo Tyrrell drive, is in a good 12th position.
Senna is now back out on the circuit, but he's a lap down in last place, so he's pretty effectively out of the race.
Yeah, and it may well be that we're soon going to get a new second place man, because here is the battle on lap 14 between Keke Rosberg second, Niki Lauda catching him third, the leader still Nelson Piquet. As we look at Rosberg passing Martini, and now Lauda about to do the same thing. Brundle is in 12th place, Farby in the Tolman is 13th, and Winkelhock is 14th.
That was disgraceful driving, but then I suppose you'd expect that. Martini just ignored the fact that Lauda was coming through as well, shut the door, and really, people with that level of inconfidence should not be in a Grand Prix. That was absolutely disgraceful, and of course Prost has caught right up again. So there goes Rosberg, there goes the idiot, and there go the 2 McLarens.
And the gap now is increasing between Piquet and Rosberg. Nelson Piquet, that we haven't seen a lot of, he's driving an absolutely superb race. So, second, third and fourth. Now that they've recovered from the Martini contretemps, the 2 McLarens are right with Rosberg.
Yes, and what was interesting to see was how quickly they re-caught Keke Rosberg after that gap of well over a second opened up, and within a lap they're right back on his tail, and now he's got both McLarens looking at him, but he does enjoy that great luxury of being quicker in a straight line. So Niki or Prost is going to have to dive inside him somewhere in the twisty infield section, because every time they get onto a straight, by the time they get to the end of it, Rosberg has got too much daylight between him and them.
And I wonder if Riccardo Patrese, who is a famous blocker, making it very difficult for anybody and everybody, no matter where they are in the race in relation to him, to get by, is going to interfere with this battle for second position, which is bearing down on him. Riccardo Patrese, the Italian in the Alfa Romeo, who is in 16th position. Here he is, up to the Verrerie, 160 miles an hour, this right-left sequence of bends. There's the right, now the left. then down to the chicane at the far end of the circuit to L'École, where they come down to about 85 miles an hour. Down into first gear for the right-hander, which follows here. Then roll it round, up into second, up into third. Keep going towards the right. Brown Sam Boom, which is where they are now, and Rosberg is right behind Patrese in 16th position.
And that's bad news. Oh, and 2 cars off there.
Well, one of them is an Arrows, and I couldn't see whether it was Berger or Boutsen. And Martini, the dreaded Martini, has got in the way of one of the Arrows, and I imagine taken them off. Lauda is past Patrese, who has a go at Prost, but misses him as Prost passes. So the second, third and fourth men have all lapped everybody up to 15th place. And we've just had a check, and it was Berger who's gone out. Into the pits goes Derek Warwick. And we are now on lap 26, which is just about the half-distance lap in this 53-lap race, with Nelson Piquet now 12.4 seconds ahead of this battle for second position, which has raged now for lap after lap. Rosberg second, Lauda third, Prost fourth position. Lauda, the world champion. Prost is in third place in this year's World Championship.
And that looks like Ayrton Senna has jumped, who has undoubtedly put the Lotus into the tyre wall. He's climbing up. He looks to be fit and healthy. And so that is obviously fully the end of Senna's day. Remember, of course, he'd been in the pits with gearbox trouble, got out again. But and here is the battle. And Lauda is now having a go. Now, Rosberg started well, but we knew that he was going to be quick early on because he took the softer compound tyre. He took a little bit of a gamble to get a stickier tyre. And after a while, when things settled down, he didn't seem as quick. And it's in the corners that he's having trouble. He hasn't quite got the grip that he should have with the softer tyre. And first of all, Piquet passed him, but he couldn't pass him on the straight because the Williams Honda is very fast in a straight line. Piquet passed him right in the middle of a double right-hand corner with the one that they've just gone through 2 corners ago. And the 2 McLarens then came up behind Rosberg. They're being held up, of that there is no doubt at all, by Keke Rosberg, but he's being entirely fair. And really, they've been climbing all over the back of him for some 20 laps now, and are a little bit flummoxed. What Lauda, I think a slightly bolder approach might do something, and Prost is now having a... Oh, and Lauda's blown up. So Lauda, poor Niki Lauda, he's having a wretched season. He's finished only 1 race this year, but this might liven things up, because I have to say I back Prost to deal with Rosberg more effectively than I would have rated Niki Lauda. So Niki Lauda out of the race, sad thing for him, because that's one of the best races he's had this season. And Rosberg trying to get through. Oh dear. And Winkelhock, as usual. Of course, Winkelhock runs in blinkers. You must remember that.
And it's given Keke Rosberg the opportunity to make a bit of a break, because Winkelhock was holding up Alain Prost. And now, on lap 32, Nelson Piquet, of whom we have seen hardly anything in this race, such as being the excitement of this battle for second position between Rosberg, Lauda and Prost, and now Rosberg and Prost, and you're looking now at Rosberg and Prost going through, and Winkelhock blocking Prost. Well, while you look at this battle for second position between Keke Rosberg and Alain Prost on lap 33 out of 53, the race order is Piquet leading, an ever-increasing lead. It's now some 19 seconds. Rosberg second, Prost third. There they are. De Angelis once again in the points, as he has been in every Grand Prix this year, in 4th position. Mark Surer in the second Pirelli-shod Brabham BMW is in his best place since he joined the Brabham team this year, 5th. Patrick Tambay for Renault is 6th. Staffan Johansson, who had a dreadful practice in the Ferrari, is 7th. 8th is Thierry Boutsen. 9th is Warwick, who's been into the pits. In 10th position is Martin Brundle, driving for the first time in a Renault-powered Turbo Tyrrell. Niki Lauda, you've seen go into the pits and out of the race, rather. And out of the race also are Ayrton Senna, Berger, Martini, Jonathan Palmer, Michele Alboreto, Andrea De Cesaris and Jacques Lafitte. And the leaders have lapped everybody up to Martin Brundle, who is in 10th position. Niki Lauda, by the way, we've just had a message from the pits, from the McLaren pit, went out with gearbox trouble. He was having some problems in practice, and it's clearly struck again. And into the pits has gone Martin Brundle. And there is De Angelis in 4th place, who's been as consistent in the Lotus team as Senna has had bad luck.
So now, down the sort of right-handed straight, and then into the left-hand. And now Prost is well placed, and Rosberg's another corner he's had trouble with. Can he get round to the right of him into the hairpin? No, he can't.
They've just lapped Farby, who is in 10th position, going well in the Tolman. And with Piquet leading, 21 seconds, Rosberg and Prost second and third.
Yes, and the speed with which Farby caught him through the twist. And Prost has got it. Finally, finally, finally. Alain Prost at long last. Now, I anticipate Prost to pull plenty of space pretty quickly, but with only just over 10 laps left to go here, he is Prost jumped. You think he caught Rosberg a little bit by surprise there and just ducked inside him. Now, we've better get our calculations going pretty quickly to see what Alain Prost has got to do to catch Nelson Piquet.
Well, he's got to carve into a 21-second gap, but with Prost having taken that second place, I'll tell you that there's a change down the leaderboard to the disadvantage of Patrick Tambay, who was in 6th position. There is the race leader. The new 6th place man, by the way, let me hastily finish that point, is Stefan Johansson. And Nelson Piquet. Now we can enjoy the style and the speed of the 1981-83 world champion Nelson Piquet, leading by 21 seconds. Prost can eat into his lead, but Nelson Piquet, experienced a tactician as he is, because after all, this is his 101st Grand Prix, of which he has won 12 and scored some 216 World Championship points, and experienced a tactician as he is, he will be able to watch Gordon Murray's signals. There is Alain Prost starting his 41st lap. The French crowd here, I need hardly say, are starting to get a bit aerated. Nelson Piquet pressing pretty hard, and Rosberg going into the pits. Keke Rosberg into the pits on this, the 40th lap, the end of.
And this must be a tire stop. Yes, I'm sure they were expecting him. And Rosberg going for an emergency set. Of course, that'll be the soft V's again. Looked reasonably quick and efficient, and a bit of a wheelie, gets the rears nice and warm. Just over 10 seconds for Rosberg, so he won't have lost too much. Rosberg, well, he should be pretty close to De Angelis now that he's rejoined. He was 13 seconds or thereabouts in front of De Angelis. He'll be behind him because, of course, 10 seconds stationary, you lose a lot more decelerating and accelerating.
You look at the race leader, Nelson Piquet, the gap down to 17.5 seconds. It's lap 41. It's a 53-lap race. Prost is second. Keke Rosberg has held that third position with a lightning pit stop for all 4 tires to be changed onto another set of Bs, no doubt. In 4th position, it's still De Angelis. Mark Schurer is 5th, and Johansson is catching him in 6th place in the Ferrari. And Mark Schurer has gone into the pits, was in 5th position. So that means to say that Stefan Johansson, when he comes through, should go up into 5th place. Patrick Tambay back into 6th position. And that is the Brabham of Mark Schurer blasting out. And here is Rosberg. And now we have got a new lap record. 1:39.9 for Keke Rosberg is a new lap record. And that's some consolation. And the gap between Prost and Rosberg is some 23 seconds. So unless Prost has trouble, there's no likelihood of Keke Rosberg finishing higher than 4 points for 3rd position. This will be a magnificent victory for the Brazilian, 32 years old. And an enormous fillip, and hats off to them for all their endeavour, to Pirelli with whom Bernie Ecclestone, the head man of the Brabham team, took an inspired gamble at the beginning of this year. He, at that time, signed what was to be an exclusive tyre deal with Pirelli before Michelin pulled out. And then there was the bombshell when Michelin, who had been so successful and dominated the World Championship last year as a tyre manufacturer, withdrew from racing. And Pirelli took a long time to get their act together. They look as though they've done it. They've got a qualifier that's working well, not quite well enough. But we've always known or thought that they had a good race tyre. They're certainly proving it today. And don't forget that we're going on to a series of fast races. Silverstone in a fortnight's time, tremendously quick. The Austrian Grand Prix at the magnificent Österreich ring, very quick indeed. Monza at Italy, very quick indeed. And now it's Nelson Piquet leading on lap 52 out of 53.
Well, here comes Nelson, just coming up to the start-finish line. There is the start man with a finger up to show him he's got one lap to go, as if he didn't know, but that's traditional. And there is Prost, just embarking also on his last lap. But as Barry was just saying, this really is quite an important event in Grand Prix racing. It's Pirelli's first win coming up, and it's very good for the sport. It's not a healthy situation when there's one tyre manufacturer having to supply all the teams and dominating, and it's taken Pirelli really a most impressively short time to get to this situation.
And there on the last lap is Keke Rosberg, who with a brilliant drive has got past Alain Prost and goes up into second place with Prost third.
Obviously, this is only one win, and we've got a long way to go before we can say that Brabham stroke Pirelli are fully competitive everywhere. But certainly this is a great step in the right direction, and very good for Grand Prix racing, and good for Nelson. It's not nice seeing top-line drivers like Nelson being shoveled off into the wings and the sidelines, and there he is, giving it a little bit of a slide, a little exuberance for fun. I can assure you that was for the crowd. So well done, Nelson, and well done, Prost. A good race.
And here is the Brazilian on his way to his 13th Grand Prix win, and that'll get his tail and Brabham's and Pirelli's very high indeed. So, Nelson Piquet is back. Victory at the French Grand Prix. Keke Rosberg took that second place from Alain Prost in the closing stages. Johansson took fourth place from De Angelis at the end of the last lap, and Patrick Tambay was in sixth position. In the Drivers' Championship, then, Michele Alboreto is still in the lead, but De Angelis and Prost are tying for second place on 26 points. In fourth place, it's Keke Rosberg. Fifth, it's Stefan Johansson. And sixth is Patrick Tambay. Ferrari lead the Constructors' Championship by an even greater margin, with JPS Lotus second, McLaren third, Williams fourth, and Renault in fifth place. But what a great race, and what a magnificent victory for Nelson Piquet.
Nelson, can you raise a smile for England after all that? Well done, you're back on top. How difficult a race was it for you?
Well, I cannot say the race was easy. Every race is very difficult, but the tires, the Pirelli tires works fantastic, and I could run away in after the race. I hope about 20 seconds, and after that I control all the race by the cockpit and putting the power, more power, less power, and finish very well.
Now, the first thing you had to do was to catch and to pass Keke Rosberg. How difficult was that?
Well, Keke was very quick in the straight, but he was very slow in the corners, and I could pass him in the long corner inside without any problem.
Now, then you had to keep Alain Prost behind you. Were you controlling the race from the front all the time yourself?
Yes. I finished about with 6. I could do more 6 laps in the race. I have much more power. I could go away in the straight line without any problem.
Now, I noticed you stopped as soon as you crossed the line. Have you got reservations about the weight of the car?
No, we have to take the fuel off anyway in our car. Too much over the weight limit.
Now, you and Pirelli have worked together to get the product right, and it really looks as though you have.
Yeah, I'm very happy about this because we had so many bad races, and now we won the first one.
Well, the next race is another fast circuit, Silverstone. What about that one?
Well, I hope it'll be hot there, like here, and if you're hot, I think we have a good chance also.
Well, all your English audience will hope so. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And hello for all the mums in England.
A justifiably very happy Nelson Piquet. Well, in 2 weeks' time, Nelson Piquet, like all the rest of them, is going to be driving in the British Grand Prix, another very fast circuit at Silverstone. And to give you something to think about, we've arranged a competition. So, pencils and papers at the ready.
QT, London W12 8QT. And your answers must be with us by first post on Wednesday, July the 17th.
5 different makes have won this year's 7 Grand Prix. Who is going to win at Silverstone in 2 weeks' time? Join us on Grand Prix and see for yourself.